We are live.
Yay.
I'm excited for our inaugural Facebook Live. Thank you, Jeri, for saying yes to joining me today. I'm brand new to StolenYouth. It started in January, and I'm so excited to be able to talk about the Ginny Fund. It's an incredible program that StolenYouth created in 2017, and it has a lot of direct impact on survivors of trafficking, right? So let's start out by just introducing ourselves, okay? So I'm Shaunessy Jones. I'm the Director of Development at StolenYouth. I've been here since January, and I'm very excited to have a series of conversations with these incredible leaders in our state that are doing great work to end trafficking. And today I have the honor of chatting with my new friend. You're my friend now, Jeri.
Yeah, of course.
Jeri Moomaw. Jeri, introduce yourself for everyone.
Oh, goodness. My name is Jeri Moomaw, and I am Shoshone, Bannock, and Cree. And I just really want to give acknowledgement right up front that I am coming from you from traditional Nisqually tribe land.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to acknowledge right at the beginning that, you know, May 5th has a huge significance around murdered and missing Indigenous women. And, you know, there's an inherent link. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. Like we said, my name is Jeri Moomaw. I am the founder and executive director of Innovation's Human Trafficking Collaborative. I have a long background. One is lived experience. Two, I have been a subject matter expert and a leading voice on the local and national level around, you know, how do you support victims, and you know, how do you end human trafficking? And you know, I am just incredibly honored. I started IHTC out of the trunk of my car. And, you know, Innovations Human Trafficking Collaborative, you will hear us either say Innovations HTC or just Innovations. You know, honestly, I started out of the trunk of my car, and I will talk more about where my passion comes from. But I am honored to be here, and we're not friends, we're family. And you know, I just there's been a lot of different incidents that have happened since COVID that, you know, I really want to talk about.
Great. Well, and I wanted to say that I am on the Duwamish territory, and so I want to acknowledge the land that I am on, the stolen land that I reside on.
Yes.
So thank you for bringing that up. And I look forward to addressing more in detail the intersections of missing and murdered Indigenous women and trafficking as we continue our conversation. I'm just respect the hell out of you. I think you're an awesome person. And I mean, to start an organization out of the trunk of your car, that's like really great origin story. I think it's like very scrappy, right? You're just going to get it done however you're going to get it done. And I admire that very much. Mm-hmm. So you kind of referenced this already, but let me just make sure that everyone understands that at StolenYouth, we have a fund called the Ginny Fund, and it directly supports survivors with small grants that, it seems like to me, remove barriers and obstacles, because when you're trying to leave the life and build a new healthy way forward, you often are hitting up against obstacles like outstanding court fines, not having a driver's license,
yes.
Right? And that, what does that mean when you're trying to find a job, secure housing? I've seen so many applications where the need is so great, but it's maybe a couple $100. So the impact is so large, even if the gift itself isn't tens of thousands of dollars, right?
Mhm.
So I'm excited to talk to you today about what you've received through the Ginny Fund for your clients, and what is the impact that you're seeing when they receive a Ginny Fund grant. So if you have any anecdotal stories you'd like to share, I would love to hear them.
I do, and I'm excited about it because, when we're talking about, barriers, oftentimes, we look at them as, small barriers. But when you are working with clients and you're working with clients that are, you know, fresh, leaving, or we meet people where they're at, and sometimes first thing traffickers do is they take your ID. They thrash your credit. And so there's many different things that we have been able to utilize through the Ginny Fund, all the way down to changing all the locks off of somebody's home. They didn't feel safe, and we have gotten birth certificates, driver's license. We've got flea kits where it has like a pair of leggings and some shoes, because oftentimes law enforcement brings individuals to us and they have the clothes on their back. And sometimes people don't think about this, but the way we utilize the Ginny Fund a lot is getting cell phones for survivors, victims that have came into contact with law enforcement, because they seize their phone for evidence.
Oh.
And then we don't have any way to get in contact with them, and they don't have any way to call for 911 or safety. And so we have been able to, I think we've got, oh goodness, I want to say 7 or 8 cell phones. And we really encourage, we pay the bill for a couple of months, and then we work with our partners, and we figure out how that can be ongoing support and part of their case plan. And a lot of times that's not what people think of.
Right. Well, when you're on the ground and you're there meeting them where they're at, you're seeing in real time what is standing in the way of them being safe, moving forward, and creating a healthy, happy future for themselves, right? So a cell phone makes perfect sense to me, and I hadn't thought about that it gets seized for evidence. So that's really insightful for people to think about when we just sort of aren't, that's not our lived experience, so we don't actually know all the things you're up against and also that you're coming out of extreme trauma, right?
Yes.
So the trauma-informed care that I assume you're all providing is so invaluable to anyone that's trying to rebuild their life. Thank you for sharing that. Are there any specific, like you can think of someone you've worked with that you could see the impact of getting a Ginny Fund grant?
The first person that comes to mind was a young lady that was a law enforcement referral. She was almost beaten to death. And we were able to support her with advocacy, hotel night stay, supporting her. She had a broken nose, she had a broken jaw, making sure that, the advocates were going with her to the appointments, and really have followed her and met her needs. And a lot of them were small through the Ginny Fund. It was, I need a birth certificate so I can go and I can get an ID, and then I have a small fine in Georgia that I need to pay to be able to get a driver's license. And, being able to see those benchmarks, she is flourishing. flourishing, you know, and we have been doing a lot of, you know, we do leadership development and, you know, come together and, you know, have, you know, talking circles and, you know, make sure that their mental health, physical health, and, you know, spiritual health are all being fed. And, you know, sometimes it's as simple as gas.
Yeah.
Hygiene. You know, and we're able to get gift cards with, you know, some of the Ginny Fund money, and then we can meet that immediate need that seems small to us. But if your car is out of gas, I mean, how do you go to your mental health appointment?
Right. How do you look for a job? How do you get to that job? It's so cyclical to me that as I see it, it's like, if you can't get all these little prongs met, then where are you, like, how are you going to move forward? And as someone who has worked in the foster care system for 15 years, I've seen a lot of those similar barriers for kids that are experiencing the system, right? Where you can't get traction because there's too many hoops to jump through, and something as simple, I'm going to air quote that, as, you know, getting your birth certificate to move forward to get your license, which means this, which means that. It's a domino effect of good if you can stop all those obstacles from being there. Thank you for sharing. That's wonderful.
I want to add one more thing, and when we look at things that might be small, we have to look through the lens of trauma informed, you know, and often it's overwhelming to individuals that are exiting the life, and, you know, being able to advocate for them and, you know, be able to help them fill out the forms and you know, all of those other things, you know, it makes it possible, and you're building trust, you're building a bond, and then they're going and telling other people that are, you know, in exploitation, you know, hey, these people are real, they helped me with the phone, and, you know, it's the domino effect for good. And, you know, the Ginny Fund just, it you guys make it easy, you believe in our work, and you know, we're just really honored to be recipients on several different times.
Yes, we are also honored to partner with Innovations HTC and you, Jeri. You do incredible work. And I'm curious if there's, what's it like you're in Thurston County, Olympia area, and like, what are you seeing? Are there trends, particularly as we are still in the pandemic? Are there different needs that you've seen come about during this past year?
Oh my goodness, we have seen a, you know, I want to say a 4 or 5-fold increase in individuals reaching out for help.
Wow.
And, you know, a lot of that comes from, we have a program that does rental assistance. It's through the Treasury Department, and, you know, just people getting to know, you know, hey, there is help, and, you know, we can pay some back rent, and, you know, just getting the word out there, and, you know, it's just been a domino effect. We did a lot of work with the Nisqually tribe, and, you know, we're getting regular referrals throughout the area tribes, because human trafficking is new to them. And, you know, that's why we've been taking on cases for an advocate, and the Ginny Fund helps, but StolenYouth has really supported us in other ways to watch us grow. And we're going to have a lot of more opportunities to use the Ginny Fund as our staff grows, and that's very exciting.
It is exciting, and I'm excited to have, this is maybe one of the first times we very publicly have talked about the Ginny Fund. And it was when I started, I was blown away by the impact that this fund has. And one of my first endeavors was, let's raise some awareness that this fund even exists, and that our community can directly support trafficking survivors through this fund. And that a monthly gift or even a small gift, $10 to $50 can cumulatively make a huge impact. Because like we're saying, a lot of the requests are not a lot of money, but the impact is quite big. Yeah. So I know we only have probably like 5 or 6 more minutes. I don't remember what time we started. We're being very casual, right? So, but I do want to talk a little bit. Is there anything you want to make sure we know that you haven't said already about the work of Innovations?
Honestly, we are the only survivor-led, Indigenous-led organization in the state. And our work not only focuses on, Washington State in this area, but also on a national level. Being part of the Thurston County Family Justice Center, pre-COVID, really a one-stop shop. So we don't have to have victims of crime telling their story over and over and be re-traumatized. And so, we are working on building a solid response protocol. We have a model that we worked with Nisqually Indian Reservation, their casino Red Wind, and so we are duplicating that model with different tribes, and that model includes, how to recognize and how to respond to human trafficking, and that is a lot of referrals, and then we are able to do short-term hotel, and Ginny Fund is just been amazing, and we are growing because our work is working. It is working. If you go in and you train somebody and you do a train the trainer and you find a champion and they pass that knowledge on what to look for, and then they have a agreed plan. You call this number, you do this, you do that. We're saving lives.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I remember when you spoke earlier, you were saying, it's like word of mouth too, right? Because the way I would imagine is that, you as a person who has experienced that kind of exploitation, trust is not something that comes easily, understandably. So to be able to hear from someone else and that they've taken that risk to believe in you, relationships are so key to helping and to having people trust you enough to let you help them. I've definitely seen that myself as a licensed foster parent, it takes time and it takes consistency and it takes transparency for people to trust that you're legit and that you really are there for them and wanting to do good. So thank you so much for creating this incredible organization and for all your activism. And I said this at the beginning, I think, but when we scheduled this, we didn't talk about the fact that we were going to be talking on the National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two-Spirits, right? And I thought of that after we scheduled. I was like, oh my gosh, we have to talk about that. It's so important. Some things that I've read, and I'm speaking to the choir here, but I've read that the national average murder rate on some reservations is 10 times the murder rate in reservations. Oh my. And that Native women and girls that are living in urban areas also experience just an alarming rate of violence. And that oftentimes the disappearances of them or their murders are connected to sex trafficking, as well as sexual assault and domestic violence. So do you want to touch on, I know you're doing work around this, and do you want to speak to this and maybe share with people what kind of actions they may take to help raise awareness and make this stop?
First of all, I appreciate you doing research. I do. It is alarming. It's 1 in 3 will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime. I'm really glad that you mentioned, boys, men, our LGBTQ2IA plus, two-spirit community, definitely at a higher risk. When I think it's important to look at intersectionality,
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, somebody might come from a small reservation. They might meet somebody, in the casino that's out grooming and looking for Native, individuals, because sadly they can change their makeup and advertise them as Korean or as Mexican. And so I've actually heard, traffickers saying, they're targeted, and they can, really market them well. And so when we're looking at intersectionality, you cannot separate it. And a lot of the times, some of our missing people have been engaged in the commercial sex industry. And what we need to do is we really need to work to break that stigma, because often law enforcement, it goes from here in importance down to here. And it's basically left with the family, going out and really being the squeaky wheel. And we can help them be that squeaky wheel, by social media, being able to share images. I know that there's a Facebook page, it's Murdered and Missing Indigenous Relatives, also Murdered and Missing Native Americans. Look those up on Facebook, share posters, keep your eyes peeled. If somebody is not going to target and exploit an individual on their own reservation, so that it's very migratory. So, if you see a poster of somebody that's missing, like out of Montana, we need to keep our eyes peeled. And, we need to train people on that. And in our casino training, we do train on that. And, it's a big part of it. And I just, want to give honor to all the families and those that are, missing and murdered, that they will find comfort.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's when the work starts, is when somebody is recovered. And that's where IHTC jumps in and is able to support them where they're at, as they exit, as they reintegrate, and
the world is a better place because you're in it, Jeri, and you use your life for good and to help other people. I'm just really grateful for you and all the great work that you're doing with your organization. And we could talk for so long. So we're just going to do more series of these so that we can keep talking about different things. But thank you so much for speaking about this very important topic. And we're out of time, but we're going to do more together, I know, because we've already talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It went so fast.
I know.
Honestly, I feel like I'm sitting on the couch next to you. And so, I would love to continue the conversation. We could talk about, how, like oil extraction and that link and, yeah, I could go on and on.
Well, we'll come up with a series that it'll just be the Jeri and Shaunessy Chit Chat Show, and then we'll hit on all the topics. Okay.
So I would love it.
Great. Well, for those that are still watching or that want to take action after hearing Jeri so eloquently speak about this topic, you can check out their website. We'll drop that in the chat and also in the recorded video. And today we hope that you will also look and read more and learn more about missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirits. If you're feeling inspired to support the Ginny Fund and other survivors of trafficking, you can join us by clicking over to StolenYouth.org and making a donation to the Ginny Fund. Today is the last day of Give Big, and you can also go to the Give Big website and look for Stolen Youth and give a donation that way to the Ginny Fund. Thank you so much, Jeri, for being here today and for speaking and for all the great work you do. I appreciate you and so happy to partner with you. And thank you everyone for watching our video. We're glad that we could share this information with you, and have a good day. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you so